Hello, my name is Anna, and I love trying vintage recipes. So today I'm trying 3 party dip recipes from the 1970s. Today's recipes come to us from Better Homes and Gardens, Snacks and Appetizers. This book was published in 1974, and I'll talk more about it a little bit later. I love a snack, I love an app, and most importantly to this video, I love a dip. So we're sort of transitioning seasons at the moment. We're heading from summer entertaining into autumn and then winter entertaining. So you know what that means. Holidays, get-togethers, that kind of thing. There's tailgate parties, there's football, there's all kinds of things. I think it's always good to have a dip recipe in your back pocket, not literally. It's always good to have something like that so that if you're getting together at your house, you know, you have something quick you can throw together, or if you're going to someone else's house, you have something quick that you can throw together and take with you. So I'm trying this Cottage-Dill Dip for a couple of reasons. The first reason being I already make a pickle dip. I make it with cream cheese and sour cream. This is made with cottage cheese, which leads me into the second reason I want to try it. I feel like cottage cheese has been enjoying its time in the spotlight for the last couple of years now. I personally love cottage cheese. I've eaten it since I was a child, whether it was trendy or high in protein or not. I just really like it. And I don't believe everything should be made of cottage cheese. People are out there trying to make everything from cottage cheese. Do what you want. Do what you want. But I thought this could be like an interesting way to try it, just to compare and see, what are the differences between the way that I normally make it. I actually did a video on dill pickle dip on this channel, so I'll link that in the description down below. I'm also having to make a modification here. So you may notice that this recipe calls for dry cottage cheese. And unfortunately, that's not something I can find in the stores I shop in right now. I actually do love being able to search ahead of time for ingredients, go to the store location on their app and kind of look and see what they have available. Maybe it's just not popular here. It's not something I've been able to easily find, and I don't want to make my own. So dry cottage cheese is just like the curds, the curds of the cottage cheese that have been rinsed and dried, and some people call it farmer's cheese. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use just like regular cottage cheese, And in the recipe, it calls for dry cottage cheese and skim milk. So basically they're taking dry cottage cheese and they're adding a different liquid to it and making it like liquidy. I'm just gonna leave out the skim milk and use regular cottage cheese and see where that gets us, It could be fine. We're gonna find out. Place milk, no milk, pickle juice, cottage cheese, and onion salt in a blender container. So I'm cutting this recipe in half. I have 6 ounces of cottage cheese here. I didn't want to make a whole recipe until I knew whether or not I was gonna like it. Pickle juice. I don't think this is nearly enough. I may be modifying this further after I try it. And then I have my onion salt. So we're gonna start there, and I'm gonna blend this together until it is smooth. Okay, let's give it a scrape and see how we did. It's pretty smooth, pretty smooth. I also just took another look at the recipe. There's no dill in this besides the dill pickle juice and the dill pickles. So again, we might be making more future modifications. I will definitely make it mostly the way it is as written. And then try it that way and let you know. I think I'm gonna blend this just a little bit more. Okay, I think we're just about where we wanna be here. So the next step says to pour this into a small bowl and then add your finely chopped pickles and pimiento. I'm gonna let this thing do most of the work for me. I did a rough chop on the pickles and pimiento, but I think I will like the texture a whole lot more if I just kind of like let it chop up in here a little. So I've got my roughly chopped dill pickle, and I don't add pimiento to my original dill pickle dip recipe, but it says to have it here. So I'm just gonna kind of like pulse that a little bit. I don't want to get it so finely chopped that there's no pickle texture to it. It is turning a little bit pink because of the pimiento. Interesting. Ooh. Kind of looks like Big Mac sauce. I've never eaten a Big Mac in my entire life. I don't know. It's never been something I've wanted to try. Maybe I will in the future. Anyway, it is slightly pink and it has chopped pickles in it. And that's what I think of when I think of like Thousand Island dressing, or I think of the sauce that goes on a Big Mac. Okay, we're gonna do just a little bit more because there's some bigger pieces in there. Oh, it's so pink. Oh, that's funny. I didn't really think about that happening too much, but it is definitely pink. Let's see if that color comes through on camera. I think it's actually even more pink than it looks, on the camera. Dips in general, dips and spreads, a lot of time, they just taste better If you chill them for several hours, or even better overnight, So I'm not gonna do my taste test on this until tomorrow, and then we'll see. So I made a little veggie plate because it suggests that you eat this with vegetable dippers. I typically eat my pickle dip that I make normally. I would eat that with potato chips, but this does come from the lighter section of the book. Okay, I'm gonna try it with a carrot first. I just went for vegetables that I had on hand. Okay, not bad, pretty good. I really need to not think about the pickle dip that I normally make because that is made with cream cheese and sour cream. And this is cottage cheese. You know, it's gonna get close. It's not gonna be exact. I'm gonna try it with a little pea pod here. I'm gonna get a chip. Okay, I just have some like plain sea salt kettle chips here. I mean, tastes pretty good on the chip. I mean, I think I like it the best on the chip, but of course it's chips. Second best on the carrot, least on the little pea pod. Also, it's pink because it has pimiento in it. I mean, I didn't even think about that. It's just kind of a pale pink, but thoughts. I think it tastes pretty good. I almost wish I had not had other pickle dip before this though. That is like richer. I think if you want to substitute cottage cheese for those ingredients, you definitely can. It's not going to turn out exactly the same, but it does taste pretty good. I think though, I'm going to season it up a little bit more. Normally in like my pickle dip, I'd put some garlic salt. I'd put some dill. I usually use dried because that's, you know, I don't always have fresh. I would probably put a little bit more pickle juice. It's not like super pickly and I really like pickles. So I think this is a good start. You know, I think if you want to kind of like experiment with making some dips out of cottage cheese, you can definitely do that. I think it just needs like a little bit more seasoning for me. I'd like to thank Factor for sponsoring today's video. What? You didn't expect me to live exclusively on party dips all the time, did you? Factor offers 35 chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meal options per week, and they're delivered right to my door. They have meals for a whole range of dietary needs, vegan and veggie, calorie smart, protein plus, and more. Their meals arrive ready to heat and eat in just a couple of minutes. No shopping, prepping, cooking, or cleaning up. Factor also has an assortment of snack options, including smoothies, small bites, and juices. And Factor is flexible. When my needs change or I'm traveling, I can adjust my order size and pause or reschedule deliveries as needed. I've been working with Factor for a while now, and I just continue to be impressed with the selection of meals that they have to offer. I'm always finding something new. So this time, I decided to try the white cheddar chicken with broccoli grits, roasted green beans, and almonds. I'm gonna start with the green beans. They are calling my name. That is delicious. The green beans are a little bit zesty and smoky. They're perfectly cooked. I love that Factor meals come with vegetables. The broccoli grits look really good. Oh, creamy, cheesy, just what I want. And then the chicken. I don't know how they managed to make a microwave meal with chicken that is not rubbery. It is always perfectly cooked. This whole meal is tasty as heck. If you'd like to give Factor a try, head to factor75.com or click the link in my description down below and use code CookingBooks50. You'll get 50% off your first box and 20% off your next month of orders. That's code CookingBooks50 at factor75.com to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month of orders. Thank you again to Factor for sponsoring today's video. I wanted to include a dip that was sweeter, more of a dessert. And so I came across this pineapple orange yogurt dip and I thought it sounded incredible. So let's give it a try. This dip starts with some crushed pineapple. I have an 8-ounce can of crushed pineapple that I have drained and I let it chill in the refrigerator while I was getting everything ready. Next, I have 8 ounces of orange flavored yogurt. I was able to find this at Walmart. I think Meijer had it as well, but the containers were only 6 ounces, so I had to buy more than one and measure out 8 ounces. Next comes 4 ounces of whipped cream cheese spread. I have 1/4 of a cup of coconut that I've toasted. It didn't indicate whether or not you should use unsweetened coconut or sweetened coconut. I used unsweetened because I had some that I wanted to use up, and you can toast this in a number of ways. I just did it in a pan on top of the stove because I only had 1/4 of a cup to do, and it took maybe, I don't know, 2 minutes or so. You just want to make sure that you spread this out in your pan on medium-low heat. Stir it every once in a while, but keep a sharp eye on it because once it starts turning brown, it goes very quickly. It does make your kitchen smell very good though, if you like coconut. Finally, I have 2 tablespoons of packed brown sugar. I'm gonna try to go in with a whisk and mix this. I briefly considered a hand mixer, but the cream cheese is whipped. It's not, you know, like in a block, and I've left it out for a little bit, so I think it should be okay. Okay, yeah, that mixed together pretty nicely. It says you can add some milk if you want it to be a little bit thinner. So I'm just gonna add maybe, I don't know, half a tablespoon or so. I had some at the ready just in case I thought I needed. Mix that in. Basically, that is it. Now I just need to let this chill until I'm ready to try it. And if it needs a little bit more milk after that, I'll add it and whisk it in. I'll be back a little bit later to give this a try. I have this like tiny fruit plate happening. I don't want to tip it. I think it's very cute though. I garnished, I'm just gonna separate all of this. I garnished the dip with some extra toasted coconut and orange slices. I just had some like mandarin oranges in the fridge. The recipe suggested that you garnish it with the orange slices. It didn't say anything about the toasted coconut, but I had it. I think it's pretty. Honestly, it kind of looks just like a dessert that you can eat on its own, but we're gonna try it as a dip. I have apples and I have strawberries. So let's try the dip with a Granny Smith apple first. It's good. It's reminding me of something though. Thinking through what's in here, maybe it's reminding you of the same thing. It's kind of like ambrosia. The ambrosia that I've made in the past has like pineapple, mandarin oranges. Usually like the one I've made has sour cream in it, coconut, marshmallows. The cream cheese I think kind of like simulates the sour cream a little bit. It's got that nice like tartness to it. And the yogurt too actually, of course, but it's an orange flavored yogurt, but you're still gonna get some of that same flavor quality. It tastes really good with the Granny Smith apple. Let's go strawberry. Also very good. Yeah, it's ambrosia. I mean, it's very similar. Never thought of making it as a dip though. It tastes really nice. It's very refreshing. I wanted to try this hot broccoli dip because I really don't think I've ever had it before. I've not really heard about it. And then I wanted to show you. So that right there is a photograph of the hot broccoli dip. This recipe starts with 10 ounces of frozen chopped broccoli. I am cutting this recipe in half. So basically what you start by doing is just cooking your frozen broccoli according to package directions. So that means I need some heat, and then I need to cover and let this cook until it is soft. And don't bother getting the fanciest looking frozen broccoli because you're gonna puree this. Just save yourself a little bit of money and get, you know, if you wanna get the broccoli pieces with the stems and everything, doesn't matter. All right, my broccoli is all cooked and now I need to drain it. But I also need to save the liquid. And you may be thinking, why don't you just puree this with the liquid? Well, you might need more or less depending on what your package instructions said, you know, how much water to add. So draining this, we'll see how much I end up with. I need half a cup, so I don't know if I'm gonna have extra or if I'm gonna need more water. You know, if you don't have enough, you can always add a little bit. Okay, I have my cooked broccoli in my little strainer. I just was a little shy on water. I needed half a cup and I came up just a little short, so probably by a few tablespoons. Let's recap. I cooked my broccoli according to package directions. I drained it and then I reserved that broccoli water and I just had to add a little bit. So now I have half a cup of broccoli water. And the next step is to puree some things. So I have to add my broccoli. That's why you want to cook it pretty soft, you know. I prefer like roasted broccoli in the oven, but in this case you do want very soft broccoli so it purees smoothly. Broccoli, check. Broccoli liquid, so that's my broccoli liquid. It's a little faintly green. I have a cup of dairy sour cream here, and that goes in with the broccoli and the broccoli liquid. The broccoli water. Doesn't sound very good, does it? It's the newest energy drink. I hope not. Let's start a food trend that the next electrolyte energy drink, whatever, is broccoli water. I don't know what is going on with me today. Cover and blend till smooth, stopping to scrape down sides once or twice. That is blending very nicely and very easily. Kind of looks like broccoli soup. So that's blend number 1. I do have to scrape this because I got a little sour cream on the sides here that didn't quite make it in. It happens. It's what spatulas are for. I think this is kind of promising. I like spinach dip. I know spinach dip is very different. You know, you can have hot spinach dip or cold. I like both. Haven't tried a broccoli dip. Okay, we're gonna blend again. Looking good, I think. Let's just, yeah. Oh, that smooth green puree. That's all that we have for the pureeing part. I need to move back over to the stove. So I'm coming right back to the very same saucepan, and I'm gonna try to make it work because I don't want to dirty another one right now. So I need to pour my puree in there. That is so smooth. And this is where I have a substitution coming in. This recipe calls for beef flavored mushroom soup mix. I couldn't find it, but I could find this, onion and mushroom soup mix. And you know this happens to me from time to time, and maybe it's happened to you too if you like to make vintage recipes. Sometimes products are no longer available or they're harder to find for whatever reason. I think this is still gonna taste really good, and I think it's probably pretty close to what the original recipe would have wanted. As close as I'm gonna get, let's just put it that way. Need to add one packet. One packet going in. And I also have some Lea and Perrins. And I am crushing a clove of garlic right in the pan. Well, I have a spatula, so let's try that first, but I may go whisk on this. So now I just need to mix it together and let it heat through. This is a dip that you can put into a fondue pot once it is heated through. I would also say, a small crock pot or a little dipper. If you have a little dipper, I have one and I love it. I'm gonna let this heat up and then we'll give it a try. Okay, so the color of this dip for sure is unusual. It's a little bit like slightly duller than the color of mashed avocado. And you end up with a little bit of a nice vibrant kind of like pale green when you're pureeing the cooked broccoli, the water, and the sour cream, but once you mix in that beef flavored, or in my case, onion flavored mushroom soup mix, it changes the color significantly. I have a couple of thoughts before I actually taste this. It's very smooth, and I think that's appropriate and fine for like a fondue. So if you're serving this in a fondue pot it says to serve it with crackers. I think you could also serve it with like toasted bread. That seems good, that seems right. I kind of wanted to have a little bit more texture. I think I'm used to like with a hot kind of like spinach artichoke dip, you have those pieces of spinach and those pieces of artichoke to give it a little bit of a more varied texture, where in this case it's very smooth. So I would almost say if you're gonna, put this in a little crock pot, or, I think you could bake it in a baking dish as well and serve it that way. If you're gonna do that, I would say maybe cut up some cooked broccoli to put in there just to give it a little bit of texture. Maybe even some sauteed mushrooms. I don't know, because there's like a mushroom flavor in there. I think it's time to try it. And it says serve with assorted crackers. My assortment is one cracker. It is Ritz crackers. It is what I have on hand. So let's taste it. Let's just give it a try. I like it. That is a good tasting dip. I'm gonna taste it again. I like it that much. The flavor is very nice. That's so different. I don't think that I can really identify the broccoli in there either. I'm tasting the creamy, like sour cream. It almost tastes like a sour cream and onion dip, probably because I used onion and mushroom soup mix. That kind of like savory, earthy mushroom flavor as well. It's good with the Ritz crackers. I mean, Ritz crackers are just good, aren't they? If I had other crackers, I would definitely try it with those too. That is super good. I just kind of crave a little bit more texture. I'm trying to think if there's like any other kind of thing that I would dip in there too. I would not go vegetables for this one. This is definitely like a bread or cracker kind of thing. Maybe like pita bread, maybe cut up some pita into like wedges and toast it. I think it would be really good with this. Good flavor though. I do like this one. I'd make some modifications to the texture, but the flavor is really delicious. Better Homes and Gardens, Snacks and Appetizers was published in 1974. And if you've been here a while, you know how I feel about Better Homes and Gardens cookbooks. Just love them. So let's just get right into it. That's the cover. I did not do this on purpose, but it really does coordinate beautifully with the shirt I chose to wear today. That's the back. And I didn't notice this until right now, but there's the broccoli dip that I made. Better Homes and Gardens cookbooks of this era usually have this kind of like, sampling of photographs on the back in these squares, rectangles, shapes. On the front, it looks like we have some pizzas, maybe like a little marinated vegetable salad, a snack mix. I absolutely love snacks, appetizers, and dips, so I knew this book was going to be perfect for me. I focused mostly on the dips chapter of this book, but let's just kind of like take a little glance through some of the other ones. We have some chicken tacos here. Those don't look half bad to me. Some fondue. This is called Pink Squirrel Fondue. I think it looks like Pepto, but maybe it's really delicious. What is in that? Marshmallow cream, creme d'almond, creme de cacao, lemon juice, and then strawberries for dippers. Yeah, it's probably pretty tasty. Quick dessert fondues. So there's some fondue recipes in here that are actually cooked in the fondue pot with oil, which I have never been brave enough to do, you know, to batter and fry something in a fondue pot. Oh, heck, a pizza chapter. Well, maybe I'll have to do some pizza recipes from here. Spicy lamb pizza wedges. Okay. Easy Mexican pizza. That sounds terrific. Giant pizza sandwich. This is all pizza. How did I overlook that? And then we have taco and tortilla tempters. Wow. Alliteration. Sandwich bundles. Fruit and vegetable nibbles. Very colorful. Baskets of bread, so you can make these kinds of things to go alongside your appetizers or be the appetizers, but you know, these breadsticks would probably be very good for dipping, probably very good for dipping in that broccoli dip that I made. Raspberry fantans, bagels, heck yeah. Dessert dramatics. I love the chapter names that they use for some of these. It's just great. But that looks like a nice little holiday spread right there. Cherry almond cookies, so like a nice little cookie buffet, a cookie table. I also like a lot of these because they don't have a lot of ingredients, which hopefully makes them a little bit faster to put together. And maybe you even have some of these items on hand, which is great for like impromptu kind of get-togethers. You don't have to go out and buy something. You can kind of just go through your fridge and pantry and maybe you have something on hand that you can put together. Collection of tidbits. There's some pretty good looking tidbits. Chicken filled biscuits. What is that one? That's these. Those do look good actually. Noodle cereal snack. That's this. Crunchy things, crunchy things. This has so many recipes. You know, often when I am trying to plan my videos, if I'm looking for something really specific, like a specific dish or a specific meal or something like that, these Better Homes and Gardens cookbooks are great because I have so many of them, like the skinny ones that I'm talking about here. I have so many of them in my collection, and a lot of times they're kind of like very specific. So, you know, it does help me plan sometimes. I try not to do too many in a row, but I do love them. Pizza Rustica and little tiny meatball subs. This is like, this is sounding better and better. Enticing sweets. I'm just showing you like as many of the photographs as I can because they're so good. There's not really like illustrations in this one. It's photographs. There's candy making, snacks to drink, so beverages. What was that? Zippy tomato cooler. Wow. Love the use of zippy there. Appetizers on the double. I'm assuming that means fast. I mean, I know that on the double usually means fast, but yeah, these are pretty fast, I would say, most likely. Appetizers that wait, so I think that just means some make-ahead things. Little fancy sandwiches. They have a whole array of fillings here that you can use to make these little fancy sandwiches, using whatever bread that you want to use and some cookie cutters to make them extra special. Oh, and we also have some party menus back here. I do love a menu, and occasionally I do make a full menu on this channel. So they have a whole array of party menus for different occasions. There's a holiday open house. Ooh, I'll have to keep an eye on that one. Make a pizza party. That sounds fun. Poker party, fondue party, afternoon tea, informal get together, late night. Late night for me is like 9 o'clock. So probably not doing that one. Anyway, this is a great book. It still has the price tag on it. I love when I can get a cookbook with the price tag on it. $2.95. I'd say that is a bargain for all that you get in here. So let's talk about the recipes I made today. The first one I tried was Cottage-Dill Dip. And this does come from the calorie reduced section of the book because of the use of cottage cheese and skim milk and that kind of thing. I really should not have tried comparing it to the pickle dip that I make though, because it is very different. It didn't have enough seasoning for me, I don't think. So I made that a couple of days ago at this point, and I've kind of tried it over the last couple of days just to see if the flavors develop even more. But I I would add more seasoning to this. There's a couple of changes I personally would make, and you may think that this would just change it way too much for you, but like I'm just gonna tell it like it is and tell you what I do. The cottage cheese I used was fine. What they were doing is using dry cottage cheese and then adding skim milk to it. And what I think they were trying to do here is to reduce the calories even more, because like the liquid in your regular cottage cheese, like I use full fat cottage cheese, so the liquid in that has more calories than skim milk would. The way I did it, by using just regular old cottage cheese and then omitting the skim milk, it worked fine. The texture was perfect. It's exactly what I would want in a dip. So I would say you could probably do that safely. Keep that the way I did it. There's a little bit of onion salt. I would probably add some garlic salt. There's 1 to 2 teaspoons of dill pickle juice. Add more pickle juice. I'd say like 1 to 2 tablespoons at least. And then 2 tablespoons of finely chopped pimiento. I don't think I'd add the pimiento. It didn't taste bad exactly. I don't think it needed it. I wanted it to be a very dill forward dip, and it didn't even have any dill in it. So I'd say no pimiento, 1/4 cup of finely chopped dill pickle. You could probably up the dill pickle, and I would add some fresh or dried dill to this just to really, really drive home that dill flavor. Generally, I think it was pretty good. I would make modifications. I think it would be a good way to start trying out different dips with cottage cheese. If you don't, for whatever reason, if you don't want to use like a sour cream or a mayonnaise or a cream cheese or something, and you want to substitute cottage cheese, I think this is a good first try, but I would change up the seasonings for sure. So the second recipe I tried was called pineapple orange yogurt dip. And I want to rename this dip and call it ambrosia dip, because that's basically what it was. And it was really good. I really liked it. I actually had some today after I ate lunch. I had that as kind of like my dessert with some strawberries, and it tasted very good and very refreshing. So ambrosia dip, the reason I'd call it that, it has a lot of the same flavors as ambrosia. We've got the pineapple, we have orange flavored yogurt, and there's coconut in there, and then the creamy kind of like whipped cream cheese and that tartness from the yogurt makes me think sour cream. I've made a couple of different kinds of ambrosia, one with sour cream. I've made one with like whipped cream. So what I'm saying ambrosia, I'm kind of like comparing it to the one with the sour cream. It was sweet, it was delicious. The texture was really nice. The texture was perfect to me. I think some people might have problems with the coconut. I love coconut. The texture doesn't bother me. I know not everyone likes it, so you could probably leave that out. Or my other thought is just, instead of incorporating it like into the dip, maybe just use a little bit as a garnish. It does have 1/4 cup in there, so if that's not something you enjoy, you could probably leave it out and still get a lot of the original flavors. So when I initially made this yesterday, I think I let it chill for like 2 hours before I tried it. It was really, really good. And then when I ate it today, it was even better. Like, as much as possible, I try, and I do like to let dips sit in the refrigerator overnight. The flavors just get better and they develop more, and I just, it's usually a better situation. That one, definitely recommend pretty much as is. I didn't need to make any changes to it. Like I said, if you don't love coconut, you could probably like kind of modify that a little bit. Finally, the hot broccoli dip. This was very different for me. Not like anything I've ever really tried. And the color, I said the color was a little unusual. Thought about it for a little bit longer, and what came to my mind is serve this for a Halloween party. I think you could serve this as some sort of like witch's cauldron dip or like monster dip or something, because it's kind of like a weird green. I mean, if you're having a Halloween gathering or something, like I think you could do that. It would fit right in. Does anybody make a cauldron shaped slow cooker? I think putting it in something like that would be absolutely perfect. Flavor-wise, it tasted very good. It had a very like savory quality because of that like onion and mushroom soup mix. That was one substitution I had to make because I could not find beef and mushroom, but it was pretty similar. I would say it didn't indicate like a beef flavored cream of mushroom. It was a beef mushroom like soup mix in the recipe. So that's what made me think of like those Lipton soup mixes. And although it changed the color, I think it added a lot of nice flavor to it. It was really smooth. I like a little texture for something like that, for like a hot dip, unless it's like a cheese. I mean, even a cheese, I like a little texture sometimes. Also, it kind of like not having a texture to it or having pieces of broccoli in there, you don't really know what you're getting exactly, which again makes me think Halloween party. Ooh, it's spooky. I think having maybe like pieces of roasted broccoli in there, or even just like tiny crumbles of broccoli somehow, might not only give it more texture, but might give like more of an indication of what it is that you're eating, like what is in there. This is a picture of it, again, a bigger picture. Mine was kind of the same color, I would say. It said that you could garnish with parsley and lemon. I didn't do that. It was just me. I wasn't having a huge party where people were going to be looking at my broccoli dip and being like, where's the lemon and parsley? It didn't say to like squeeze the lemon in there or anything. It was just to make it look pretty. Serve with crackers. Yes, I would say crackers. Bread would be really nice. If you're doing the Halloween thing, I'm really dwelling on this Halloween party idea, but if you're doing the Halloween thing, I think Trader Joe's and maybe some other stores have like ghost-shaped tortilla chips. That could be very good too, just to stay on theme. This made up Halloween party that I'm not having. Like I said, something different. When I chose these recipes, I didn't want to exactly stick to the very same things I make over and over again. You know, I do make a pickle dip, but I don't make it out of cottage cheese, so I was very curious to see how that one would turn out. I would recommend any one of these for your next party or gathering. Thank you again to Factor for sponsoring today's video. Head to factor75.com and use code CookingBooks50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month of orders. If you love cookbooks and recipes from the 1970s, I have an entire playlist and I'll link it in the description down below. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I am on Patreon, so if you'd like to support me over there, I'll leave a link in the description so that you can do that. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.